Hello everybody, hope everybody's doing great today. Appreciate those of you watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. Today we're talking about the movie Men at Work. This was directed by Emilio Estevez. Before I get into this movie though, let me share a quote that he gave about when people talk to him about this movie. He says, "People come up to me and say that Men at Work is the funniest movie I've ever seen or saw in my life. But you know, I have to question how many movies have these people seen." I don't know, I just found that quote interesting and I like it. Shows that, he's a humble guy. And, Men at Work is a funny movie, but the funniest movie ever, I'm with you, Mr. Estevez. I have to question how many movies have these people actually seen. And I'm sure that, he's very proud of this movie because it comes out really good. And there is a lot of good, funny parts in it. But, funniest movie ever, I would have to question that as myself. So let's get into Men at Work. Men at Work is kind of like a movie about the environment and corporations dumping waste into either the ocean or land or wherever. There was a big thing back in the 80s and 90s. You saw a lot of movies about this, about people getting poisoned by toxic waste and stuff like this. And so this is kind of about the environment, and especially about companies illegally dumping toxic waste into oceans and stuff. And so our two men are garbage men, our two heroes, Men at Work, blue collar workers. They're garbage men, and they stumble upon this dead body, and they're trying to find out why this person was murdered because they don't want to be accused of being murderers, stuff like that. I believe Estevez did a really good job of capturing the life of a blue collar person, a blue collar worker. You got the work environment where Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, and these other two garbage men, they're always hazing each other, doing practical jokes on each other, stuff like that. I mean, they get a little carried away, go over the top, but this is a comedy. And if you ever worked in a factory or in a construction site and stuff like that, that's kind of how men act. They do practical jokes, they haze each other, joke around. We see there's a scene, there's like a montage of them making their job fun. They're playing bowling. They get this bowling ball, the garbage can, they start bowling. They're using trash can lids as frisbees. So this is probably the scene that you're seeing, that you saw or seeing right now. Depends how I cut it, and stuff like that. So, they got a mundane job, but they're making it fun, and like a lot of blue collar workers, they're doing this just for the money, but they got dreams. They want to open up a store, like a surf store, I think you could call it. They want to sell surfboards. So they got their dreams of being business owners, starting their own business. You'll find a lot of people who work in factories, stuff like that. They're doing it for the money, but they got other aspirations that they want to get into, but you need that money now to pay the bills, to make a living, stuff like that. And once you save up some money, then you can go out and do your dreams, work your way up. Also, it's kind of like touch a little bit about society, especially on Charlie Sheen's character here. He has his girlfriend, his fiance, he's in love with her, he's wanting to marry her, but he dumps her she dumps him because he's just a garbage man, and she doesn't want that label in her circle that she's a garbage man's wife. It's kind of sad, but garbage men do make pretty good money, at least from what I hear. Garbage men and the plumbers and electricians and that kind of stuff, they kind of get the raw deal. They're always getting made fun of and stuff like that, but if you think about it, their jobs are a necessity in society, and they make pretty good money, but if you ever see like the movies or TV shows, they're always kind of talked down upon. And I kind of like this movie because it really talks about like in a straight level. Like, it's not looking down upon these garbage men. Like, it's really cover them like normal people, hardworking people. It's not looking down on their jobs or anything like that. Making fun of them. I guess what's I'm trying to say. It's not making fun of them because they're garbage men. It's really giving them dignity and stuff like that. And that's where I kind of like the movie. Unlike, you see other shows where it kind of makes fun of the people who does these kind of works, these blue collar jobs. So I really did like that part of the movie. Some of the highlights of this movie is our heroes here, our two men, they get complaints because they're making too much noise, too much ruckus. So their boss makes his brother-in-law ride with them, keep him in line, and this is David Keith. What? You got his name mixed up. David Keith. Oh man, it's a Keith. See, he has two first names. All right, I'm gonna have to have this in the description. It's Keith David or David Keith. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he started They Live, opposite of Roddy Piper. But he really steals the show. I can't, I had it in my mind. Keith David or David Keith. Keith David, right? I don't know. It's gonna be in the description, so I won't get blasted for this. I know by some people, but to me, he really steals the show. He plays his character very straight. Straight, and like the way that him and Emilio Estevez's characters play off each other. Estevez's character just doesn't like him whatsoever because he's like a sergeant type of person. Like everything's in line. He's very strict. But he has this one weird quirk with the policeman. I'm getting ready to get into the police situation here. But with the policeman, he hates the policeman. And then he is kind of sick because there's a part where, the policemen are catch him with a dead body. And so they kind of beat him up a little bit, takes their clothes off, and he handcuffs the two cops onto a merry-go-round where it looks like they're... looks like they're, I guess I'm trying to keep this family friendly, but they're in a compromised position that looks like they're, you have to watch the movie. I don't really want to say it, okay? However, he does that twice to two different cops, two different police partners. And this movie does kind of touch upon the policemen and law enforcement here. The cops are not really corrupt, but they do abuse their powers, especially these two guys. And you see this, you have good cops, bad cops, the whole story. These guys, for some reason, they just don't like Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez's character. And so this movie does kind of touch upon policemen abusing their powers. Did another movie earlier talking about Convoy. That Convoy was a lot more corrupt and abusive of his powers. And these guys just like giving him a hard time. And they're sure that that Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez are bad people for some reason. I don't know why he gets that idea about them. But you do get a little touch about policemen abusing their powers. And that's like a common theme that was in the 80s and 90s. And how do I want to go? I don't know. I don't want to touch on that subject. I was going to go somewhere, but I don't want to go there. Looking at my notes here. So I guess the last thing I got on my notes here was, if you want to know what happens to your garbage, minute work kind of goes through the whole process. Garbage, pick it up to take it to a place, and then it's a filthy job. I don't know how they do it now because now, at least in my city, I don't know where your city is or your neck of the woods. Now everything's mechanicalized. Get these arms, dump it. But here, it shows how it was done in the good old 80s and 90s, and probably up to the early 2000s before they all got robotic, I guess you could say. So Men in Black. This is a good movie. Recommend this. Almost highly recommend it, but this is a solid recommend. If you like, if you're interested in a good 80s or 90s movie, I think this was came out in 89 or 90. So it's I believe it's in the borderline of both decades. Beginning in this one, so it's more like an 80s movie because it's the beginning of the 90s. But you want a good old movie. Can't believe I'm saying it's an old movie. This is my childhood I'm talking about here. I did see this as a kid. I loved it as a kid. Love it as an adult. It's aged very well. This movie aged very well. Very well made by Estevez. He did a great job. So check it out. If you're looking for something a little bit older or you missed it, you grew up in the 80s and 90s and somehow you missed this movie, check it out. You'll like it. As of right now, I'm not going to say because probably time I get this published, it'll probably be off Amazon Prime. But it was on Amazon Prime, so maybe it'll return. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this. Have a great day, and bye.